in Washington that I think are destroying the credibility of the dollar. We're $30 trillion in debt. As you mentioned earlier in the show, you have a $2.3 trillion stimulus bill with regard to infrastructure on the horizon. This is going to be catastrophic, I think, for the dollar. But I think China has been smart on its digitizing of the yuan. And the United States, we're sitting here trying to figure out where do we go? What do we do? We can't get our policy right, whether it's digitizing the dollar, but also in all of cryptocurrency and all of blockchain technology. The United States doesn't have a clear path forward. And I think if we could get that right, I think that's the wave of the future. But again, we have to get our spending and borrowing in order, because this can't continue much longer, Maria. And if it does, I don't think the rest of the world looks at the dollar as the reserve currency.
Well, I mean, look, Dagan McDowell, it's going to be hard to replace the dollar as the reserve currency. But China is coming at us at every way. And the fact that we do have $30 trillion in debt is a concern, because we're just spending willy-nilly. Look at this so-called infrastructure plan and how much of it has nothing to do with infrastructure.
A huge problem that, no offense, Sean, will never get under control with Congress, because, again, they have no spending restraint. And we've seen that for more than 20 years coming out of D.C. I want to point this out in terms of the digital currency, Maria. So there's a report out that China may test its digital currency with foreign visitors at the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022, that China is going to make it possible for foreign athletes and visitors to use its digital currency during the Olympic Games. One word: don't. This is the very reason that athletes should not be going to communist China for the Beijing Olympics. There's an editorial in the New York Post today that is very telling by Cleo Pascal from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. You send athletes over there to China and the Communist Party, information is power. They will be victims, these athletes from around the globe, of intellectual property theft. Don't be surprised, Cleo Pascal writes, if Beijing requires participants to download an official Olympics app that surreptitiously provides with access and tracking. It will be genetic theft. Again, genetic data on the most physically gifted athletes around the globe. When they do COVID testing on the athletes or drug testing as precautions, what is the Communist Party collecting? Genetic information. So Pascal sums up, while the world's greatest athletes are in China, they can and should expect that the party will steal anything it can. That stolen data will be used in any way that can benefit the Beijing regime in sports and business or on the battlefield. That's what's going to be happening. And it raises the issue of why is the Olympics Committee not stepping up and saying we should not be having the Olympics in a nation that unleashed the deadly COVID virus around the globe and is torturing people, torturing Muslims.
That's absolutely right. Why would anyone go to the Beijing Olympics?
Exactly.
I mean, why is there no accountability whatsoever for the Chinese Communist Party, hurling this virus at the world, allowing it to get unleashed and leave its borders, downplaying the virus, continuing to steal intellectual property, not to mention the human rights abuses? Of course the athletes are going to get their DNA stolen. I'm expecting it for sure. We're going to keep talking about this, but there should be a movement to move the Olympics at this point. We all know the truth about communist China.